Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to another Sport This Week video. And in today's video I've got basketball, baseball, darts, ice hockey, tennis, cricket, NFL, UFC, boxing, football, the return of Moto GP, and yeah, that's all the news. If you are new around here and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like this if you do indeed like here, and let's get straight into it. So going into this one, we're going to start off with the basketball news. So Lakers won 111 to 105 versus Magic. Warriors won 121 to 108 versus Rockets. Celtics won 132 to 109 versus Kings. Warriors won 127 to 125 versus Mavericks. Heat won 127 to 120 versus Knicks. Lakers won 122 to 111 versus Suns. Celtics won 120 to 95 versus Pacers. Warriors won 120 to 112 versus 76ers. Lakers won 116 to 111 versus Thunder. Heat won 129 to 100 versus Nets. Lakers lost 118 to 108 versus Bulls. And Celtics won 137 to 93 versus Spurs. And that is all the basketball news. Moving on now to the baseball news. Red Sox lost 7-5 versus Pirates. Dodgers lost 5-1 versus Rockies. Yankees won 6-3 versus Tigers. Red Sox lost 6-2 versus Orioles. Astros won 2-1 versus Marlins. Dodgers won 4-2 versus Guardians. Dodgers lost 12-1 versus Giants. Yankees lost 5-2 versus Nationals. Astros won 5-2 versus the Mets. Red Sox lost 11-0 versus Twins. Dodgers lost 5-1 versus Mariners. Red Sox won 7-4 versus Pistons. Yankees drew 1-1 versus Cardinals. Dodgers lost 11-5 versus Diamondbacks. Astros won 5-4 versus Nationals. Yankees lost 6-4 versus Twins. Dodgers drew 6-6 versus Brewers. Red Sox won 9-8 versus Braves. Yankees lost 7-6 versus Orioles. Astros lost 3-2 versus Marlins. Red Sox lost 4-2 versus Rays. Yankees won 8-3 versus Phillies. Dodgers lost 6-3 versus Royals. Astros won 6-1 versus Nationals. Astros won 24-1 versus Cardinals. Yankees lost 7-2 versus Twins. And Yankees won 6-2 versus Blue Jays. And that is all the baseball news. Moving on now to the darts news, where it was a Players' Championships. Humphries won 6-3 versus Zonneveld. Van Gerwen won 3-0 versus Whitlock. Price won 6-4 versus Van Gerwen. Price lost 7-3 versus Anderson. And it was also the continuation of the Premier League. Van Gerwen won 6-5 versus Wright. Price won 6-1 versus Clayton. Smith lost 6-4 versus Dobie. Van Gerwen won 6-0 versus Aspinall. Price won 6-4 versus Dobie. Price won 6-1 versus Van Gerwen. It was also the PDC European Darts Open, where Price won 6-5 versus Ratajski. Humphries lost via walkover versus Dolan. Smith won 6-3 versus Idams. Wright lost 6-5 versus Pietrasecco. Van Gerwen won 6-4 versus Van Barneveld. Price won 6-4 versus Smith. Van Gerwen won 6-2 versus Van den Berg. Price won 6-4 versus Van Gerwen. Price won 7-4 versus Nopert. Price won 8-7 versus Van Duijven Bodie to win the PDC European Darts Open. And that is all the darts news. Moving on now to the ice hockey news. Red Wings lost 5-2 versus Panthers. Bruins won 2-1 versus Senators. Canadians won 3-2 versus Lightning. Maple Leafs lost 7-2 versus Islanders. Red Wings won 3-2 versus Blues. Bruins won 4-2 versus Canadians. Red Wings lost 4-3 versus Blues. Maple Leafs won 6-2 versus Panthers. Red Wings lost 3-0 versus Flyers. Bruins won 2-1 versus Lightning. Maple Leafs lost 5-3 versus Hurricanes. Canadians won 8-2 versus Blue Jackets. Bednar is the new Avalanche head coach. Boyle has retired. Bruins won 4-3 versus Hurricanes. And Maple Leafs won 3-2 versus Predators. And that is all the ice hockey news. Moving on now to the tennis news, where it's the Miami Open. Raducanu lost 2-1 versus Andreescu. Badoza won 2-1 versus Siegemund. Badoza and Jabeur lost 2-0 versus Delinia and Mohamed. Zakari lost 2-1 versus Andreescu. Jabeur lost 2-0 versus Gracheva. Alcaraz won 2-0 versus Bagnis. Zverev lost 2-0 versus Daniel. Tsitsipas won by walkover versus Gasquet. Medvedev won 2-0 versus Karabayez Bayena. Badoza lost 2-1 versus Rybakina. And Alcaraz won 2-0 versus Lajovic. And that will be continued on into next week. Moving on now to the NFL news. Lions signing Gardner Johnson. Texans signing Schultz. Texans signing Singletary. Bills signing Harris. Jets signing Hardman. Browns trading for Moore. Eagles extending Johnson. Ravens signing Aguilar. and Seagull signing Wagner, and that is the NFL news. We're on now to cricket news. New Zealand won by innings and 58 runs versus Sri Lanka. South Africa won by 4 wickets versus West Indies. Netherlands won by 2 wickets versus Zimbabwe. Australia won by 21 runs versus India. Zimbabwe won by 1 run versus Zimbabwe. That is not right. I believe it was Netherlands. Bangladesh won by 10 wickets versus Ireland. Afghanistan won by 6 wickets versus Pakistan. New Zealand won by 198 runs versus Sri Lanka. West Indies won by 3 wickets versus West Indies. I've done that again. I believe it was South Africa they were playing. I might be wrong. I'm very sorry about this. I don't know why this happened. Zimbabwe won by 7 wickets versus Netherlands. South Africa won by 6 wickets versus West Indies. And USA won by 81 runs versus Namibia. And that is all the cricket news. We're on now to the football news. Hodgson is the new Palace manager. Ozil has retired. Foster has joined Wrexham. England won 2-1 versus Italy. Portugal won 4-0 versus Liechtenstein. Kane is the new England top goal scorer of all time. A very big achievement. Big congratulations to him. You kind of knew that was going to be happening for a while. But yeah, I mean, fair play to him. It's a big achievement. Nagelsmann has been sacked by Bayern. Tuchel is now the new Bayern manager. That was weird how that happened. Obviously, they just wanted Tuchel, I suppose. Belgium won 3-0 versus Sweden. France won 4-0 versus Netherlands. Everton drew 1-1 versus Liverpool. Clark has signed a new deal with Scotland until 2026. Spain won 3-0 versus Norway. Croatia drew 1-1 versus Wales. Germany won 2-0 versus Peru. Turkey won 2-1 versus Armenia. Man U won 4-0 versus West Ham. Arsenal won 5-1 versus Spurs. Morocco won 2-1 versus Brazil. Villa won 5-0 versus Leicester. Reading drew 2-2 versus Brighton. Man City won 2-0 versus Chelsea. England won 2-0 versus Ukraine. Portugal won 6-0 versus Luxembourg. Italy won 2-0 versus Malta. And Conte has been sacked by Spurs. And that is all the football news. Moving on now to the boxing news. Madrov versus Igbokwe. Castro versus Lopez. Ko versus Casper 2. And Martinez versus Lopa will fight on the 8th of April. Johnson will fight Scotney on the 28th of May. Nguyen will fight Nguyen on the 1st of April. Riggs will fight Perez on the 1st of April. Acosta will fight Cordova on the 6th of April. Fury versus Usyk is off, which is... that whole thing's stupid. I should probably make a video on it. I might do if I have time. I might not. But it's stupid, that whole kind of fiasco, what's going on. That's all I've really got to say for the moment. It's stupid. If I do another video on it, then I'll speak more about it. If not, then you know my stand on it is that it's stupid. Tararov won by TKO in round 10 versus Meneses. Soylibayev won by TKO in round 3 versus Lorsa. Boatsi versus Stepien. Whitaker, Price and Denny will fight on the 6th of May. Azim will fight on the 10th of June. Billam Smith and Lawal versus Chamberlain will fight on the 27th of May. Lopez versus Conlon will fight on the 27th of May. KSI versus Fournier will fight on the 13th of May. Inoue versus Fulton has been postponed, which is a big shame. I was very much looking forward to that fight. Inoue has got an injury, which is completely fair. Hopefully that fight should be rescheduled, possibly by maybe June, July time. So still not too far to wait, I suppose, but yeah, it is a shame that has been delayed. Zarin won via points versus Radnik. Faulkner won via points versus Velichokov. Murphy won via points versus Fox. Big congratulations to Murphy. Had him on the channel. Maron won by TKO in round 1 versus Pierce. Watson won by points versus Sosa. Redovan won by stoppage in round 5 versus El Masoudi. Brown won by points versus Karami. Thunders won by points versus Fekioru. Zarbek won by TKO in round 5 versus Facundo Ars. Gardner won by points versus Walker. Moorcroft won by TKO in round 2 versus Bennett. Arthur won by unanimous decision versus Crichton. Lambert won by points versus Brown. Stringer won by points versus Laskowski. McKenna won by points versus Grant. Artenstall won by points versus Bukziniskij. Thompson won by points versus Talarek. Antwi won by points versus Rodriguez. Edwards won by points versus Phillips. Simpson won by TKO in round 3 versus Neves. Clark won by stoppage in round 2 versus Dinu. Gomez Jr. won by split decision versus Giles to become English super featherweight champion. Coley won by unanimous decision versus Light to remain WBO World Cruiserweight champion, which I didn't predict right. I mean, fair play to Okoli. I did kind of be the only person that went against Okoli, but yeah, fair play. He managed to relatively convincingly beat him. I mean, there was times where he probably could have got him out of there, maybe should have got him out of there, but he didn't. Still won, so that's all that matters. Smith won via points versus Hall. Nguyen won via points versus Strakowski. Itoma won via KO in round 1 versus Ibarra. Feo won via KO in round 6 versus Palacios. Taylor won via TK in round 2 versus Makovic. Owen won via points versus Flores. Big congratulations to Owen, also going on to big things, as well as Murphy. Where was I? Oh yes, so Cooper won via TK in round 2 versus Toba. Strand won via points versus Trana. Chapman won via unanimous decision versus Lecker to remain WBC interim international featherweight champion. Heaney won via unanimous decision versus Flatley to become WBA continental middleweight champion. Cunningham won via unanimous decision versus Gonzalez to become WBO international super bantamweight champion. Baluta won via split decision versus Kane to become WBC international silver super bantamweight champion. Velasquez won via unanimous decision versus Lopez. Gonzalez won via unanimous decision versus San Martin. Colbert won via unanimous decision versus Valenzuela. Ramos won via TKO in round 7 versus Spencer, which I didn't predict right from what I can remember. Crowley won via majority decision versus Ramos. Benavidez won via unanimous decision versus Plant to remain WBC interim world super middleweight champion, which I did predict right, and what a great fight that was. Plant, kind of like I expected, to come through in the earlier rounds, but Benavidez up in the tempo and showing his great work rate and ability to be able to get the last rounds to him, and big congratulations to him, and I need to see that fight versus Canelo now. Murata won via KO in round 1 versus Negrete. Guerrero drew versus Alvarez. Ruvalcaba won via KO in round 1 versus Cardenas. Sheehy won via unanimous decision versus Rebola. Marias won via split decision versus Mailata. Murtala won via KO in round 9 versus Galindo. Estrada won via unanimous decision versus Ruperech to become WBA and WBC world minimum weight champion, which I did predict right, and another very convincing performance by Estrada. Ramirez won via KO in round 11 versus Commey, which I did predict right from what I can remember. Zepeda won via unanimous decision versus Goyat. Mbili won via unanimous decision versus Gongora to remain WBC International and WBC Continental American Super Middleweight Champion, which I did predict right. And yeah, that is all the boxing news. So overall predictions wise, not a bad week, not the best, not the worst. I'll take what I can get. And now moving on to the UFC news. Cerrone is now in the Hall of Fame. Sorokian will fight Moicano on the 29th of April. Holm won via decision versus Santos. And Santagan won via decision versus Vera, which I didn't predict right. And now makes it interesting in this division as to what happens next with them. I mean, Vera was on such a run. Santagan wasn't really on that much of a run, but now he's on a bit of a run himself. So, be interesting to see what happens. They could rematch, and I wouldn't hate it. But, yeah, like I said, there's now kind of a bit of a more of an interest now in the division, I suppose. Even more than there probably was already, because it was always a very interesting division. But yeah, now moving on to the final sport, which is the return of the Moto GP news. The new season is back again, and it was the Portugal Grand Prix where Marquez was on pole, Bagnaia started second, and Martin started third. In the end, Bagnaia came first, Vinales came second, and Bezzecchi came third, with Fernandez, Marini, Martin, Gianantonio, Oliveira, and Marquez not finishing. And so yeah, that is it for today's news. Hope you did enjoy. Like if you did, like this, subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching.